name is Carrie-ben Shammai. At the moment I live in Israel, in Jerusalem. I want to tell you something about the grace which the Master descended on us by giving us a chance to meet him in physics. For the first time in 1956. And I was descending at Idlewood Airport and waved like an ancient acquaintance when I saw him for the first time in my earthly life. Later on, I was once more introduced to Baba when he left the airport. And I saw him again at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel when he received everybody for a few minutes. I knew that this was the end of my search for the perfect Master. And ever since, there has not passed a moment, the breath of a moment that I have not been in inner contact with Baba, to me the only one existing forevermore. Later on, Baba arranged it, my first flight on this earth plane, to travel with him to Myrtle Beach from New York and spending a number of days in his presence there. First, we were put outside the center, but Baba felt our necessity to be near him, and he put me into the lagoon cabine. And I had the task to clean the first thing in the morning, his cabin. And I used to come out into the woods there when nobody was up. I was sitting in the middle of the dense woods, praying towards God to open my heart towards the perfection and beauty and love compassion of our beloved Baba. Then suddenly, having sat there for about a quarter of an hour, raising my eyes, Baba, perhaps 2 meters away, stood there on the bridge, waving towards me. I ran towards Baba. I tried to look into his eyes. I couldn't grasp his eyes. But Baba knew all about me, and he put his hand to his mouth, telling me to run towards breakfast. I was running towards Baba. I was trying to look into his eyes, but I could not grasp it. Then Baba put his finger to his mouth, saying I should go to run for breakfast. So I turned running, Baba looking after me, appearing at the table. It seems like a ghost, because one of the American old disciples remarked, "Funny, I didn't notice Carrie coming into the room." I knew why he had not noticed, because I had just been seized by the highest of spirit. And another American disciple girl sitting next to me said, "Well, Carrie just came in." Now, I had been meditating intensively on the God-man, whom I had met for the first time in my earthly wandering and seeking. Drawn by that intense meditation, Baba suddenly had to come from his house towards the bridge. Then many other happenings were going on in that extraordinary wood. I was sleeping on the bridge, and all night long I heard the frogs calling out, Baba, 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 Baba. And I was all the time thinking, if I could receive the awakening kiss of the Master. Now, when it was time to go on from Myrtle Beach to California, and Baba thought that was quite enough for the moment, because I had been a guest of his at Myrtle Beach, and I could not separate from Baba because I was inconsolable, having been seeking for him for unending times. I had met my Master, and I had told Baba, let me go with you to India and sit at your feet and be guided by your grace. And then if I have to go back where I came from, Israel, I shall go back. But Baba gestured in the presence of Meherji, Carrie, go straight back to Israel. You have entered my heart forever, and I shall enter your heart forever. And there will be no more separation. At the time I didn't even realize what it meant. Baba said to me, I shall enter your heart forever, and you shall enter my heart forever. We shall never be separated again. At this time I didn't even realize what it meant, but now after 11 years of that having happened, as I said before, there is not a breath of a moment when there is separation. Night and day there is union, and everything which is being done, which is being thought, is being done by Baba. And all our endeavor is to be empty of everything else but Baba's compassion and love. And a continual prayer for redemption of all creation invades our hearts. While I was telling about coming back towards the breakfast table, I was telling about the instant when I was supposed to separate from Baba. And then I had been thinking all those nights of the awakening kiss, and Baba saw I was inconsolable. Baba had embraced me. And after having said that, but I still could not separate, and stood before Baba, Meherji on his side, all alone in that wood. Then Baba gave that awakening kiss. I was immediately consoled. I sat some distance away because other people were approaching Baba. I had the impression that had been Christ, having recognized our hearts, longing on the path for eternal union. Well, I have to think of how the happening. That was the first year I was. In 1958, I was traveling by boat towards Baba's Havas in Myrtle Beach, and all along on the boat, sitting in utter isolation, I was always having the thought of laying down my life for Baba, because I thought, what is my life? And having arrived in Myrtle Beach, Barbara immediately called me as one of the first newcomers, sitting in the lagoon cabin with him, Adi, and some other Barbara mandali. When I was sitting on the stool next to Barbara, I knew nothing else but Barbara. Barbara said to the mandali, Carrie always writes to Mani, and Mani always reads her letters to me, and they make me extremely happy. Barbara used to explain that meant that Barbara was giving his grace to us when he said that it made him happy. Regarding that weeping business, once we were sitting in Myrtle Beach on the floor. I was sitting right at the back and crying. Some neighbors offering me hankies. And so Barbara, he signed and made a sign of wiping my eyes. And we all had to laugh that among all these people, he recognized my tears for him. Whenever I saw Barbara, I had to cry fearfully, without stoppage, because I'd come into the presence of the God-man, and I felt that the most ancient things having been suppressed, the longing for the union with the divine, had been awakened in the presence of the divine beloved. So things were loosening in the most subconscious of my heart. Now, I had forever been expressing on my own, alone, my love for Barbara in dancing, in own individual dancing. And I had always desired to bring this kind of worshipping before Barbara. Since Barbara reads all your thoughts, this is very natural to him. In '69, when we were having a meeting in Pune, at the end of the meeting, suddenly I found myself, without being conscious of it, in front of the assembly. There must have been several hundred of people. I was dancing in utter worship and devotion before Barbara and some Indian players in front of me. Then again in '69, there was a special meeting between the mandali women and myself in Guru Prasad. The Australians had left, and I had stayed, by mistake I might say, by Barbara's will, for one day longer. Also, regarding the meeting, sitting on the stool next to our beloved, Barbara told the mandali, Carrie is always writing to Mani, and Mani always brings her letters to me, and they make me very happy. Meaning, in Barbara's words, giving my grace to someone. Regarding the weeping, I always experienced a reawakening of ancient suppressions through the presence of the divine. And I believe in several parts of Barbara's teaching, Barbara explained the meaning of that weeping. Once we were sitting, shall I talk? Yes. We were sitting on the ground in Myrtle Beach. I was sitting on the other end far away from Baba and crying my head out. And Baba gestured to wipe my eyes. When at another instance Baba threw a hanky towards me. And it was always a reawakening of the ancient unity with a master, with a great perfect master, which took place at such moments. When I kept on weeping without stoppage, then Meiji once said to me, "Carrie, why don't you stop crying? Because Baba said he has entered your heart forever, and you have entered his heart forever." But nevertheless, the stream of tears went rolling on and on. In '69, when I was once more received by the mandali women, once more, in '69, when I was received once more by the mandali women, Mani, Mary, and all our beloved sisters in Meherazad, I entered Guru Prasad Hall in singing and dancing, worshipping Baba, and I realized that this had been my chance I had been looking for, expressing my devotion towards the Master in that way. Forever the Master knows all about all of us.